Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And a beautiful afternoon here in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. We wrap up the homestand. It's game number 4, the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. With Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. Glad to have you with us for day baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. We saw last night Mike Shildt aggressive with many moves, and that means action on the bases, and the Cardinals were doing that.
Yeah, it was a long game, a good win, but it was worth watching because the Cardinals were running the bases with authority. Mike Shildt showing he's going to be aggressive, not just stealing bases, but going on contact, going first to third. These guys are picking them up and putting them down. Harrison Bader leading the way. Tyler O'Neill also showing his speed here last night.
It's been a fun style of baseball, and also Mike Shildt early going to the bullpen in game number 3, and that means youth is served in that bullpen.
A very productive night for the bullpen. The average age under 25. Ponce de Leon did the lion's share of the work, but everybody after him was sharp.
So the Cardinals win game number 3. They'll try to win a series here this afternoon. Miles Michaelis is on the mound for St. Louis, the All-Star. Michaelis and the Cardinals, game number 4, and it's coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. A warm day, a beautiful day here in St. Louis. We wrap up the homestand. Game 4 of the series. Rockies and Cardinals. Cardinals trying to make it 3 of 4 when we come back. Stadium in downtown St. Louis. The Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. 87 degrees. And along with Rick Horton and Scott Mormon, I'm Dan McLaughlin. As Tyler O'Neill will get the start in right field today. We've seen him make a start in center. That'll go to Harrison Bader, but O'Neill is in right today, and the young guys are getting a chance.
Love seeing the young guys play. O'Neill is a guy that has a big ceiling, and we saw his speed here yesterday. And we know he can play center field and right field both, has a good arm. And we know of the tremendous power that he possesses, and you just hope it plays at the big league level for Mike Shildt.
The Cardinals are 7.5 games back in the NL Central. They'll turn to the All-Star today. And that's Miles Mikolas.
Mikolas has been consistent. We use that word for him, steady, all season long. 21 starts for Mikolas, 11-3 record, the All-Star numbers. And his Hyundai pitch arsenal includes 4 pitches. Fastball, he uses it 57% of the time. The changeup he'll use. The curveball he'll use often just to get that first strike. And the idea, and that should have been slider, not changeup. He throws a lot of sliders, really good sliders to right-handers. The curveball he'll use for strike 1, and then he'll go to carve you up on the outer half of the plate.
Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff batter of the Rockies, 2 hits shy of 1,000 in his career. And he's also homered in this series. He's got 21 homers from the leadoff spot. The Rockies batting order. DJ LeMahieu, he's back. Then Nolan Arenado, Carlos Gonzalez, Trevor Story, Gerardo Parra, Ian Desmond, Tony Walters, Antonio Senzatella, the pitcher, batting 9th.
As if there's not enough big bats in that lineup. They have LeMahieu back today. The Rockies, Dan, are trying to go 9 straight series without having a losing series. By winning today, they even this series, obviously, but they've been on a tear. They're a very, very good team, especially with their lineup, and their pitching, as we've mentioned in this series, has improved.
The Rockies 1 game back behind Arizona and the LA Dodgers in the National League West. It's a quick turnaround after a long game last night. The first pitch by Michaelis. It's a strike and we're underway. Blackman overall batting .286. We mentioned the home runs. He's driven in 49. And the curveball is yanked foul past Matt Carpenter. And it's 0-2. The Rockies have hit more home runs away from Coors Field than they have at home. That is shocking. Blackman and Desmond both with 14 home runs outside of Denver. In the National League, the only team with more home runs on the road, it's their counterpart today, the Cardinals, with 80. The Rockies with 71. I find that very, very surprising.
Well, games there can be an adventure, as we've seen in the past. A lot of balls flying out of that ballpark.
We had Larry Walker on the other night, and he talked about you could not even have had a plate appearance and be down by 6 runs when he was there without the humidor. Swing and a miss and a strikeout of Blackman, and that's how we start the day. He elevates that fastball and puts it right by Charlie Blackman. Ozuna, Bader, O'Neill in the outfield. Jerko, Munoz, Garcia, Carpenter along the infield. We wondered last night, would Yadier Molina be in the lineup? And he is. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. And a strike to DJ LeMahieu.
Simplest way to describe Michaelis is that he's a guy that has a high percentage of quality strikes. And quality means a lot. It means a variety of pitches. There's the curveball, a little bit slower breaker, and he'll throw a harder one down and away to right-handers as well. But it's a quality pitch after quality pitch, and for a starter, you're going to throw 100 pitches. You can't make a lot of mistakes, and he just doesn't.
That's out of play. LeMahieu missed 10 games with an oblique strain. 3rd time he's been on the DL. Dealt with a hamstring, thumb injury, the oblique. So 3 different injuries, 3 different stints on the DL to make room for LeMahieu. Garrett Hampson option back to AAA. And LeMahieu, a good player, 2-time All-Star, also has won a pair of Gold Gloves. To further your point, Ricky, Miles Michaelis, 55% of his pitches are thrown in the strike zone. And that is the highest percentage in the league among any starting pitcher. The 0-2 out of play.
And that stat is different than percentage of strikes. 55% literally in the zone, and you would add to those any strikes that he gets where you get him to chase outside the zone, and he'll get you to chase on that slider.
0-2 the count on LeMahieu. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts. And there's the slider, and he chased it.
Right on cue. I love it when other teams' players actually cooperate with our broadcast.
That's a good thing.
I didn't have a chance to talk to LeMahieu about that, but we appreciate it.
You can send him some flowers later. Nolan Arenado, grand slam in this series. He now has hit 28 home runs. Michaelis not a part of the All-Star festivities. His wife was giving birth to twins as Nolan hits it out to deep right, going back O'Neill. He's got it up against the wall, spinning on the track, and what a play by Tyler O'Neill. Coming up, Matt Carpenter, Yadier Molina, and the aforementioned Tyler O'Neill. No score. walked his season high 3 times last night. He's done that in 3 different games, and he also scored a couple of runs. He's at the top of the lineup for St. Louis. Followed by Yadier Molina, and then Tyler O'Neill, Marcell Ozuna, Jed Jerko, Jairo Munoz, Greg Garcia, Harrison Bader, and the pitcher batting ninth, Miles Michaelis. Antonio Senzatella, 3rd career start against the Cardinals, his 2nd time here in St. Louis. And the first pitch to Carpenter is a ground ball hit to the right side. Taken there by LeMahieu. 1 pitch and 1 away. What does he feature? Let's take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
A higher percentage of fastballs than Miles Michaelis will throw. Senzatella, we saw him last year. He was really kind of a phenom. He was a pitcher maybe off to as good a start as anybody in the National League, and came back to earth a little bit, but Cardinals saw him. I like him. I think he's got a good future. He does have issues in the first inning. He's given up a lot of runs in the first.
Yadier Molina hitting .289. Mentioned before that Rick Horton is a former pitching coach, and you've seen it where guys struggle in the first inning. How do you combat that? What do you do?
Well, there's a few things you can do. You can do a little maybe different warm-up routine. The Cardinals tried that, and I would say successfully, with Carlos Martinez, who had a string of games where he was struggling in the first inning, and then he would just settle down right away, and felt like he needed to get a little sharper in his bullpen before the game. Don't just think get loose, but compete maybe the last 10 pitches you throw. That's one thing I would say. If you're struggling in that first inning, sometimes it's focus and sharpness.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Martinez hooked up with Senzatella last year, May 26th. Senzatella had 8 shutout innings in a game the Rockies won 10-0, but it was a really close game. I know that sounds crazy when it's 10-0, but late in that game, 8th inning, it was still on the line. And a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Molina. The Rockies defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Parra in left, Blackman in center, Gonzalez in right. Arenado, Story, LeMahieu, Desmond, all across the diamond. And Tony Wolters, the backup catcher, gets the start today. Here's Tyler O'Neill. Base hit for O'Neill. I'd say he's off to a good start. Great play in right field, and now a single.
Didn't waste any time, did he?
No, sir.
Aggressive at bat for Tyler O'Neill. Hard contact.
If he can barrel up a ball, it's going to be hit hard. He is too strong for it not to be. And now Marcell Ozuna, 4 for 13 with the walk-off homer. And that home run in this series was his first ever walk-off homer.
I was stunned to hear that.
As was I.
You're talking ever.
Ever.
Like forever, ever.
I'm not sure how much more I could be ever. But yes, ever.
Spring training. Instructional league.
I believe so.
High school.
I could not go back. The research data that was given to me did not go back to the 5th grade. However, I can confirm in Major League Baseball regular season, no walk-off homers.
So ever is 5th grade and beyond.
That's correct.
Just clarifying.
So 3rd grade may have happened. The 2-0. 3-0. Senzatella pitched July 24th here at Busch Stadium. Lasted only 4 innings in that game last year. 4 runs. He took the loss, and the Cardinals won 8-2.
Green light here.
Catches the outside corner. 3-1. we have seen the Rockies primarily Parra near the line and left, and a big gap in left center. That was the case last night with 2 hits late that drove in 3 runs. Kubota power stats concerning the Cardinals cleanup man. And on the homestand against Chicago and Colorado, 3 homers, and he's driven in 8. Now a 3-2. Little tapper hit up the third base line. Walters spins. Oh, what a play! That is a tremendous play by Tony Walters, one of the best we've seen this year. Can't do it any better than that one. No score. Very good plays defensively. Tyler O'Neill and this one.
How about this one? The cat-like reflexes by Walters, and he had to slide and throw in one motion. And the perfect way he set his angle to be able to make that throw. That's an incredible play. I mean, you're not going to see that very often.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez. Popped his 13th home run in game 2 of the series. And the first pitch is strike. Mark Rippinger is the home plate umpire. Marty Foster at first. Joe West, the crew chief, at second. Nick Lenz down at third. And the 0-1. What a story that is unfolded this year for the Cardinals in Miles Michaelis. And you always point to the signings that you think don't work out. Greg Holland obviously comes to mind, but this is a signing that has come back and has been remarkable for the Cardinals in its return.
Well, you have to be balanced about that, and it's not just Michaelis, it's Bud Norris. I mean, those two, think about how much impact those two have had on this team, and those two are now, because of this great shift in younger players, they're the veteran guys left. And other than, certainly on the pitching side, and other than Molina and Carpenter, you've got young players everywhere.
That'll be a foul ball. How about last night when you looked at Daniel Ponce de Leon and Hudson and Hicks and some of the others, Austin Gomber, that come in the ball game, and Mike Myers, they're all about 22 to 26 years old, finishing that game off. There's a ground ball hit to second. Greg Garcia. That's 4 up and 4 down for Miles Michaelis as we check in with Scott Warman.
All right, Danny, thanks. You just mentioned, in fact, we edited up in the postgame show last night. Average age last night for the Cardinals pitchers was 24, but I talked to Mike Schilt this morning, and he says it was huge. All the rookies getting the big outs in their 6 1/3 innings of relief, where they only surrendered 1 run. Now, since the Cardinals shuffled their bullpen, Dan, and brought in a lot of the youngsters, he said it has met expectations. The ERA since the shuffle for the bullpen is below 2. Now, over the last 4 games, the bullpen has pitched 20 innings, and Mike telling me, Dan, earlier this morning that it looks like the bullpen may be a little bit limited today with the night game last night and going with the day game today.
Any indication about who might take the spot of Carlos Martinez in the rotation?
Austin Gomber, he announced today, Danny, will get the start on Saturday, and it is his to keep until Carlos Martinez does come back. By the way, Dan, Mike also telling us that Carlos is going to join the team in Miami to start a throwing program as you continue that road trip down south.
All right, Scotty, thank you. Here's Trevor's story.
It's a great point about the importance of Michaelis here this afternoon. Short starts, the last 3 starts, and one of them having to do with Carlos's injury. So the bullpen has been used, I would say, effectively, but a lot of innings. So you rely on your workhorse to get you through 6+.
And the 1-2 is taken for a ball. Over the course of a season, from a manager's perspective, I would imagine there's times that you go for it because you feel the bullpen is rested, and you say, well, we'll live to fight another day on other games. You manage for the now, but certainly you are in Major League Baseball thinking about tomorrow.
You have to.
And thinking about Pittsburgh.
So if Bob Gibson's starting tomorrow, whoever started in front of Bob Gibson probably got a lot of quick hooks.
I would say so.
Let's go ahead and go to the bullpen because they're not going to get any work tomorrow.
Held on to by Molina. The strikeout of Trevor's Story. 5 up, 5 down to start this game, and 3 strikeouts by the All-Star.
And another strikeout to a right-hander with a slider moving away off the plate, and that's one of those strikes outside the zone. You're afraid to take it because if it doesn't break that little extra inch or 2, you're getting called out. So you've got to protect the plate with 2 strikes. And so one of the secrets of pitching, Dan, is you make a pitch look like a strike that's not, and that's what he just did.
Gerardo Parra, the left fielder for the Rockies. And strike 1.
I would say no one that I've seen in 30 years did that better than Bruce Sutter.
That split finger.
A lot of those pitches were not strikes.
And the 0-1. Foul ball. 0-2. We're just underway here in St. Louis. Cardinals trying to make it 3 of 4. Rockies looking to earn the split as the Cardinals head to Pittsburgh after the ball game today. It'll be the debut of Chris Archer after the big trade with Tampa Bay for the Pirates tomorrow. Colorado will head to Milwaukee. Milwaukee at the start of play. 1 game back of Chicago. Pittsburgh 7 out. The Cardinals 7.5 out. And the 1-2 hit to left. Ozuna coming in, and a sliding catch. Oh, he couldn't come up with it. And Parra picks up a base hit with 2 outs here in the top of the 2nd.
The effort was good, the route was good, and Ozuna on the slide just can't have it stick in the glove. He did everything he could do. He has been kind of in an interesting little battle with Parra for this entire series. Parra has robbed him twice, and he was trying to do it a 2nd time against Parra.
Ian Desmond, the batter. I don't know if you feel this way, but it looks to me that Ozuna has been getting better jumps here the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. And I hope his shoulder's okay. He's kind of been moving around a little bit with his left shoulder. But I think the jumps and the outfield elevation, Willie McGee's certainly been preaching that and pushing towards that, and we're starting to bear some fruit.
Willie McGee says, I'm here to work. I want to work. He loves the younger players and how they come and prepared to be, whether it's on the bench or starters. But from a Cardinals fan's perspective, it's just great to see Willie in uniform.
And he just backed up Tyler O'Neill a step or two in right. And that's part of what he does, is watch the count, the batter, the pitcher, the situation, the inning, the score, and conclude where the most optimal place for the defenders to play would be.
The 1-2, he jammed him. With every pitch, infielders checking with Jose Oquendo, outfielders with Willie McGee or also Ali Marmol, but the situation dictates positioning.
Willie told me this week about Bader that Bader has had that cheat sheet in his back pocket. He said he doesn't have to look at it as much. He knows. And the idea is to coach them to be able to coach themselves.
That's Ali Marmol on the left, Jose Oquendo on the right. A ball and 2 strikes. Ian Desmond. The runner at first, Parra. Up the middle, and it'll be handled there off the mound by the second baseman, Greg Garcia. The Rockies strand a runner coming up. Jerko, Munoz, Garcia. No score. Game on television. You can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Cardinals. No score in the bottom of the second here in St. Louis. Not a cloud in the sky. Very warm. A muggy day here on the banks of the Mississippi. Here's Jed Jerko. And a ground ball hit up the middle. Base hit past the diving Trevor Story. The Cardinals have their second hit of the day.
Interesting, the Cardinals are doing a lot of first ball hitting. It started with Matt Carpenter, who swung at the first pitch. Tyler O'Neill did it. And I think the idea is they believe Sensatella, who does throw a lot of fastballs, will throw the fastball early in the count to get ahead and then expand with the slider, which is his strikeout pitch. So jump on him early, I believe, is the Cardinals' mode of attack right here.
His last time out, beat Oakland for his 4th win. 5 hits, 1 run over 5 2/3. Jairo Munoz with a high fly ball into deep right center, backing up Blackman, and he'll make the catch. Jerko remains at first base, and there's 1 away.
Swinging at the first pitch again. By the way, Dan, I have an answer to the question of what Mark Budaska was looking for while Jerko was batting last night, and Budaska had an interesting little angle where he was right near the camera well, and we were wondering, is he looking at Jerko's balance? Is he looking at the catcher and the signs, and kind of why was he there? Well, I had a chance to chat with Buda, and the answer is the other places he was trying to stand, there were a lot of tall guys in front of him.
So it's as simple as that, huh?
He was funny. He said, well, frankly, I came up, I was preparing guys below, I came up and I just couldn't see. So I was looking for a place I could see.
Okay.
Pop Warner's taller than me. I couldn't see around him, so I just kind of went somewhere where I could get a good vantage point.
Runner goes, and it's pulled foul.
Now you know.
Now we know. Now how about that, starting Jed Jerko on that pitch?
Well, Jerko is on Mike Schildt's list. Of course, everybody, you know, he's not going to be too specific about grading his team, but he believes Jerko is one of the top base runners on this team in terms of understanding. Jerko may be a little bit disappointed in himself that he didn't tag up earlier on that fly ball to center. He got back late and couldn't go, and maybe wouldn't have anyway, but he's on that list. Fowler, good base runner, and of course the one that comes up always in terms of base running ability for the Cardinals, and maybe the top dog, is Yadier Molina.
The Cardinals, though, the style last night, and we've seen the style from Mike Shildt, to be proactive, not be reactive. Take it to the Rockies, take it to the opposition, put them on edge. Now the 2-1 instead of check.
And part of that edge is the aggressiveness running that creates pressure on the other team, and Mike alluding to me that not to be surprised if there's not some time where Yadi is not pinch run for late in the game, because it's really difficult to pinch run for your best base runner.
2-2. We turn to Rick Horton's Toyota, key to the game.
Well, you've talked about the style that Mike has been showing, and the idea is to keep pressing. The Cardinals pressed yesterday, and they just put pressure on the other team's pitching and their defense, and I just think it's almost like the Cardinals have gotten unstuck.
It's a good way to put it. Cardinals, as you mentioned, 3 stolen bases last night to match the season high. Also had 3 against the Reds on April 14th. It was Bader, Carpenter, and O'Neill. They've got 42 as a team. That's 11th in the National League. And Bader's 10, the team high. Pham also had 10 before his trade to Tampa Bay. Let's see if they start the runner on 3-2. They do. Garcia fouls it back. Jed's going to be worn out.
So what else? Think about this, Dan. The repercussion of starting runners often. What's that message you're telling the hitter? We're not accepting strikeouts anymore.
Put the ball in play.
So it's not the pressure on the I mean, say pressure, not the right word, but you're putting pressure on the other team, but you're also putting focus on your guy at the plate and saying, we want you to have a 2-strike approach. And if you strike out, it's a double play, and you can't let that happen.
Ray Garcia, 234 the average. Started second base today. Jerko again at first base, and another 3-2. He is running, and the pitch is driven out to left. Backing up Parra. He'll make the catch near the edge of the track, and Jerko back to the bag at first. The 8th place hitter, Harrison Bader, average has jumped up to 275. We saw his speed and what it can do to the opposition last night. It was a great example of forcing the issue, and Harrison Bader We know about the speed, the quickness. Home to second base, 7.49 seconds. The fastest by a Cardinal since 2015, and that's with a hesitation.
A little hitch there, and he still did it. And how about from second to home? He did the same thing. He just was flying around the bases. And we talked to Mike Schilt a lot about kind of this idea of going first to third. We talked about Willie McGee being maybe the guy that in Cardinal history we think of most in terms of the excitement of the first and the third, and how good Willie was at that, and the lean that he would.
That's what I love.
Yeah, I love the Willie lean, but talked about these guys and being able to hit the base at the right spot too, to enhance that going from first to third.
Here's a 1-0, and Bader out to shallow right. Gonzalez near the line, and it's a foul ball. I noticed last night with Bader, everything was in stride going around first base, where sometimes he is so fast, so quick, there could be a little choppy step or two around the bag.
Well, one of the things they've decided to stop teaching was, they used to teach, inside foot, hit the inside corner of the bag to go to the next base. Now they don't care which foot it is, they just want you to hit it in stride, and that little bit extra that might be better because of which foot you use is negated by that choppy step you do to when you get out of stride. And so just go as fast as you can to the base and hit the inside part of the base and move.
Remember, Bader had the play right before the All-Star break. Thank goodness it wasn't a serious knee injury, but he went down and it looked uncomfortable. Replay showed it was kind of a nasty fall. He's in the hole here, a ball and 2 strikes, and strikes out. The second of the afternoon for Senzatella, and Jerko left stranded. We played 2, and there's no score. Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Tony Wolters, Antonio Senzatella, and Charlie Blackmon coming up for the Rockies. Before you know it, those youngsters are back at school. Good to see them at the ballpark in a day game as the Cardinals will head out on a road trip that takes them to Pittsburgh, Miami, and then Kansas City. It's a big series this weekend with the Pirates.
Oh boy. Well, today is the first game of the last third of the season. Officially at the 2/3 mark now, so If you look at it that way, you'd say, well, okay, we're starting to turn that corner, but you also would say, wow, that's a lot of games left.
The matchup tomorrow night, and all 3 games will be on Fox Sports Midwest. John Gant, Chris Archer. Saturday, Austin Gomber, Ivan Nova. And then the Sunday afternoon game, Jack Flaherty and Trevor Williams. Inside corner. And it's 1-2. Michaelis is allowed a base hit. The sliding catch and attempt by Marcelo Zuna to Rob Parra came up just short. That's the only base hit. Taken just a bit high. And it's even 2-2.
He really uses the slider, and he actually almost throws it like a cutter on lefties at times. He'll throw it kind of middle in against lefties, and occasionally he'll go down and in with the bigger breaking ball to try to strike left-handers out. But he pitches inside extremely well.
See where the backup catcher here of the Rockies really crowds the plate too. He's able to get in on a lefty. Hear that all the time. A right-handed pitcher, can you get in on a lefty? Like that. Check swing, and they do not get the call, so it's a leadoff walk, and Senzatella will be the batter. Michaelis has been tremendous here at Busch Stadium. ERA just above 2. It's DeGrom, Kershaw, Nola, Bauer, Michaelis. You're talking about 5 of the very good pitchers in baseball. Senzatella gets the bunt down, and the only play is to go to first base with Garcia covering, and the sacrifice is good. And we're back to the top of the Rockies lineup with Charlie Blackmon, who struck out to start the game.
So he was trying to work the lefty Walters in and just missed in. But we talked about just how good he's been. And, you know, when we talk about being in on lefties, it can't be in the middle of the plate. I mean, when you're talking about in, you got to get it in, because the mistake might be if it's in the middle of the plate. Look at the red zone. Up, middle, 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 low middle. That's the higher average against the left-handed batters. That's where the mistakes happen. So you've got to get it in. Look at down and in on a lefty. 091 batting average. That's that slider that they just cannot hit down and in.
And a pitch taken high by Blackmon.
The other important thing about that, Dan, is it has to be set up. So that's the result. Those numbers we just saw are the result when the ball is put in play or when the at-bat is over. But you've got to get some other quality strikes before that to set it up.
He got in there on Blackmon. Only thing to do, pull it foul. Charlie came up in 2011. And he's had some tremendous seasons with the Rockies. Last year hit .331 with 37 home runs and drove in over 100 as a leadoff man.
Would you rather have Charlie Blackmon or what's that guy that plays for the Nationals name?
Mr. Harper?
One of your favorite players?
I do.
I'm putting you on the spot. Which one would you rather have?
Trying to get me in trouble here, huh?
No, you're starting a team. You're starting Danny's team. You just bought a franchise.
Bryce Harper. Now, my reasoning goes beyond the 37 home runs and over 100 driven in. And we're talking about St. Louis and marketability and a player that you'd love. And I'm not saying they wouldn't love Charlie Blackmon, but Bryce Harper would be my guy.
I wasn't saying we were giving you a franchise in St. Louis. Your franchise is going to be in Poughkeepsie, New York. You're going to have to build a team there.
Another question would be, what does the 1st and 15th look like on my checks to those 2 players? There's a strikeout of Blackmon.
Probably more than you can handle either way.
Yeah.
So he got him with the strike inside early, then he goes outside with the curveball to finish him off. So that's against the left-hander. Now he's facing a right-handed batter in LeMahieu.
How about for you?
I'd take Blackmon.
I mean, Charlie Blackmon is a fabulous player. Don't get me wrong.
I take it.
That was the all-time record, by the way, for runs batted in by a leadoff man. It broke Tim Salmon's record of 103. Here's LeMahieu and a liner that's caught at second base by Garcia. It's fun to talk about. It's baseball. Greatest game in the world. He took his camera out there and was on the mighty Mississippi. And how many's that hold now for you? Is it up to about 50?
50 or so, yeah.
It sleeps 30, I think.
Yeah.
That's great. Glad to see that we're paying you plenty to get you that,
we had
yacht.
We had T West out there with us to make sure we got those good shots.
And they're off.
And this is the part of the broadcast where I explain that Danny doesn't always say things that are remotely true.
About you.
About me, right. And you're just going to have to guess which ones are and which ones aren't.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Miles Michaelis. It's been an interesting year for Senzatella. Started the year in the bullpen. He made 10 appearances. Then sent down to their AAA affiliate in Albuquerque. That was in May. They stretched him out for 8 starts. Returned to the big league roster on the 3rd of July. From Venezuela, non-drafted free agent, and he's only 23.
We had 10 wins last year.
And the 2-1 is into right field, and it drops in for a base hit from Miles Michaelis. So the Cardinals have their 3rd hit of the day, and it's Miles Michaelis.
So the pitchers do that. They don't go with the salsa, and they don't do the
rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. The pitchers have their own. That's their own little club sign. You know, every club has a handshake, right? The secret handshake. That's the pitchers.
I think fans would be amazed at ours when we have a really good inning.
It's a secret, Danny.
That's why it's a secret. They would be amazed, though. A strike to Carpenter on the inside corner. Michaelis now with 3 hits in his last 5 games. And the 0-1.
Love it when pitchers help themselves with the bat. Daniel Ponce de Leon did it in this series, getting a productive ground ball RBI.
His first in the big leagues.
And Michael is starting things off here.
A shift on the right side of the infield. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carpenter with that historic home run, a leadoff homer earlier in this series to break a tie with the Hall of Famer Lou Brock, the most leadoff homers in franchise history. Matt now with 22. The great Lou Brock. A count of 2 balls, 1 strike. A short lead at first by Michaelis. 3-1. Three and 1 the count. Arenado well off the line at third base. I was thinking about Bud Black, if he would be more inclined to shift than maybe other teams because of the range of Nolan Arenado.
Gives you more options.
Certainly does. Arenado has the range of a shortstop, and he's at third base. Now he backs up with 2 strikes. And Carpenter looking to do some damage here in the bottom of the 3rd. Into center and a base hit. Runners at first and second, and nobody out for the 9-time All-Star Yadier Molina. We talked about it right before he hit this ball. Huge gap in left center. Where did he go? Left center. Drove in 2.
Our insurance man here last night. That's right. And the Cardinals needed it. You get to the 9th inning, you can't have enough runs. Celebrate with a little salsa.
I'm telling you, it's pretty good. You ought to try it.
I have not tried it yet. I'd like to. I do have a new thing for you. A new sabermetric analytic stat that Mike Schilt and I decided should be in vogue.
I'm ready.
He got a number today in a report, and he says first time he's ever seen it, and it should be a bigger deal. And the stat was on productive outs. And I said, well, what do they call those? He goes, productive outs. There's no thing for it yet. So I think they should be called pros, PRO, pros. Productive outs. We don't want to call them POs because that's put outs in baseball. So we're going to call them pros. Yadier Molina has more productive outs in Major League Baseball this year than any batter in the game.
And I'm assuming that means runner at second, moving him to third.
Fly ball to right. They go from second to third, from first to second. It's you advance a runner with an out. Any way you do that, sacrifice fly, bunt. Yachty has more than anybody.
The only problem, and I'm in 100% behind it, is that you don't get paid for him. And maybe you would if you showed him.
We're going to circumvent that problem by creating this stat. And you're going to say Yachty has 19 pros this year.
I like it.
And we can call them pro at bats.
I was talking with both Tim McCarver and Jimmy Edmonds about it. And it was interesting to get their perspectives, different eras of baseball and how it's played. Jimmy said, well, he's paid. So Yachty plays the game the right way. And Tim said, you're supposed to do it. Move him over. Here's a 1-2. Michaelis, the throw to third, and he's in there, safe at third base on a ball that gets away. There's some aggressive base running right there.
Well, I almost said when he got on first base, okay, now we don't need to be doing the aggressive base running with Michaelis, but he does read it well. The wide throw makes him safe. Now, The reason Matt Carpenter's not on second is I don't think he believed there was any chance of Michaelis to go, and he didn't want to run into an out. So you have to kind of read that, and I don't think he read that it would possibly happen. But you love to see it, don't you? It's contagious, Dan.
It is. 2-2 the count on Yadier Molina. This is where Yadi many times will get that sac fly now.
You and I are going to be running around the booth in between innings. It's contagious, I'm telling you.
Diving for a microphone, all out effort, giving signs to each other to go steal.
Why not?
I mean, last night I thought Mike Shildt was just outstanding in pushing it for the Cardinals. And you talked about you're in a rut. That gets you out of a rut. The key to that game was Daniel Ponce de Leon settled things down. The 2-2 spoiled by Molina.
And it's always true about every managerial decision that players have to execute.
Absolutely. Daniel Ponce de Leon came in with 2 outs, a 2-run deficit, momentum going the Rockies' way, runners at second and third, and got out of the inning. So things just settled down. A count of 2 balls, 2 strikes on Yadier Molina. Spoiled again. Seven pitches in this at bat. I think Cargo may be a little too deep in right.
We saw with Luke Weaver what can happen when a pitcher has an extended long pitch and at bat to a particular batter. Actually, we saw it the day before with McMahon doing it against the Cardinals as well. You can really wear out a pitcher and get him out early, and Yadi having a good at bat here against Senzatella.
And the 2-2 pitch to Yadier Molina out of play.
You can tell he's in protect mode. He wants to get one of those pro at bats.
You know, Yadi's one of those guys too that I think he really surveys, just like he's doing now, surveys the defense. Where's the alignment? There's room to the right side. Desmond holding the runner. LeMahieu towards the bag at second base. The 2-2 that backs up and misses inside, and a full count. Now we've seen that Mike Shildt very aggressive. Would you start Carpenter here?
A couple days ago I would say no. I wouldn't bet against it now.
He is running, and it's fouled back. Again, another base runner in motion by St. Louis. He's already seen 15 pitches. And a total of 46 for Senzatella. Runners scored 11 out of 16 times in this spot. That's 69%. The MLB average at 50. The next to Yadier Molina. Carpenter looked like he was ready to go. Blackman has moved in a few steps in center. The runner at third is Miles Michaelis. Carpenter, your runner at first base. The 11th pitch of the at bat coming up. The next to Yadier Molina. Runner goes, and it's hit out of play.
12 pitches, a couple throws over to first base, a mound visit. Not just the number of pitches, but a long at bat. So a lot of focus necessary for Senzatella to not make a mistake and you add the pressure of the runner moving too, it just kind of ramps up the moment for him.
It was a 12-pitch at bat by Tom Murphy of the Rockies that turned the game around 2 nights ago. This being the 12th pitch of the plate appearance by Molina. And the 3-2. Carpenter running, lifted in the air out to shallow left, and backing up, it'll be Story. Molina slams down his helmet. Can't bring him in. A 12 pitch at bat. There's one away.
He got out front just a little bit on that breaking ball. You can tell he was protecting, though. He was going to protect Matt Carpenter, and sometimes you get hits. Sometimes they fall when you do that. He doesn't get one of those productive at-bats that we were talking about, but production in a different way because he's worn out the starter a bit.
Already the pitch count at 48, and here's Tyler O'Neill. Ricky mentioned first time through the lineup, the Cardinals aggressive on the first pitch. That included O'Neill, who singled to left. And looks at a fastball and a strike at 97, right down the middle. A shift on the left side of the infield. The outfield pretty much straight away. And the 0-1. O'Neill hits it out to left. Parra going back, and he makes the catch up against the wall. Runner will score from third. That's Michaelis, and it's 1-0 Cardinals on the RBI by Tyler O'Neill. Well, this run is set up by the base running of Miles Michaelis, isn't it?
He gets from second to third, and that's why he's able to score on this long fly ball. Parra does a nice job of getting back on that ball quickly to make that play, and Michaelis can just float home.
Marcell Ozuna 0 for 1. Short lead at first by Carpenter. Ozuna sends it down the right field line and out of play. He was robbed first time up on a ball that he hit about, oh, I'd say 10-15 feet in front of the plate, and Tony Walters hopped on it, threw him out. Jose Oquendo sees something with Ozuna he doesn't like, and I gotta wonder if it goes back to the catch that he made or almost made.
Yeah, I saw him actually having some issues. I thought was with his left shoulder right after he dove for that ball in left field. He came up and he didn't feel right, but you know, bending over like this, I'm not sure if it's shoulder or not, but he just doesn't seem to be 100%. Let's take a look at that swing one more time. It's a pitch up and in, and a little bit of a grimace afterwards, and stiff looking. And I don't know, stiff because of back or what it might be, but you know, he took a hard fall there in left trying to make that play, and it was a bit of an awkward play, and just not sure what Ozuna did, and apparently not enough to come out of the game. But again, the watchful eye of Jose Oquendo, that's what you do as you see somebody who's not quite right. Pitching coaches are watching pitchers, and the other coaches are watching the hitters that they see every day work. And when there's something off, they may notice it before the player does.
Player may favor it, not even realize it.
100%.
And the 0-1 pitch to Ozuna. A check on Carpenter, about a 2-step lead at first base. Big happy birthday to Paul Pullman. Works in the ticket office of the Cardinals. Been here since the early 80s. Happy birthday, Paul. And the 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Pitch count for Senzatella. Been ramped up this inning. And how about the Cardinals running to the point where they actually have a couple of throws over to first base with Matt Carpenter on first base with 2 outs. I mean, he's not going, but the Rockies are worried about it.
I'd be interested to talk to the advanced scouts of the Pirates and say, what are you seeing right now as opposed to, you know, a month ago, 2 months ago under Mike Schilt? Seeing the Cardinals, it's just a different brand of baseball. Doesn't make it right or wrong, just different. And Ozuna pops it up. Walters over and makes the catch. So the Cardinals pick up a run on the sac fly, the RBI from Tyler O'Neill, and it's 1-0. Is 17th through the 19th, presented by Edward Jones. Are you getting dizzy from trying to name all of the Cardinals Hall of Famers? We can help you out. 30,000 fans, 16 and older, take home a one-of-a-kind Dizzy Dean watch, courtesy of AT&T. That's August 19th. Cards and Brewers, Cardinals.com/promotions. I would think the Cardinals gave serious consideration about the health of Ozuna, maybe taking him out of the game, as they, even during the commercial break, got together with Jose Oquendo just to see how he was.
Yeah, I think you keep your eye on him the rest of the game. You want to get his at-bat or next two at-bats in if you can, but
and the ball will find you.
It does. We'll just see how he kind of responds the next few innings, and I would be a bit surprised if he plays all 9.
Base hit by Arenado, 1-0 Cardinals. Miles Michaelis has scored his second run of the year. The other was his home run in his debut against the Brewers. And now Carlos Gonzalez. And the pitch to Cargo. He drops down a bunt, and it will roll fair off the bag. Beautiful bunt here by Cargo.
Perfectly placed down the line, and Jerko makes a decision. I'm not going to throw him out, so my best bet is maybe this ball will go foul, and not by much, Dan. That was, I mean, the ball hit the end of the bag there. Just another turn or two more, and it would have been a foul ball.
So the first two have reached, and now it's Trevor Story, who struck out back in the second. Michaelis has struck out 4. And here come the Rockies. I think anytime on a hot day here in St. Louis and the pitcher is on the base paths.
Yeah.
You take special note of that. And then the following inning, which is the case here for Michaelis.
I was glad he scored before the third out was made, scored, and a fairly long at bat for Ozuna. I think that probably helped him.
Two balls, no strikes on Story. He's popped 20 home runs. He is driven in 70.
You know, and it's not that, you know, running the bases, you know, it's not like it's not running a marathon, for goodness sakes, but for a pitcher, it's out of the norm. It's out of his pattern. And there are things that you do mentally in between innings when you're sitting on the bench that if you're on the bases, it's harder to do. I mean, you really regenerate as a pitcher in between innings. It's active rest. It's active kind of just calming yourself down, but you're doing it for a purpose. And the idea is to re-energize to the point where you're at your best when you go back out again. On the bases, you don't get a chance to do that.
And the 2-1 is driven out to right. Over near the line, O'Neill diving. Oh, what a catch by Tyler O'Neill. A remarkable play in right field by O'Neill to rob Trevor Story.
A lot of good baseball going on this play. A good at-bat, taking it the other way, and a terrific layout right up against the wall down the right field line by Tyler O'Neill. He pops up right away, makes a strong throw, and Arenado tagging and going from second to third. That's just a good baseball play all the way around.
It's a gutsy play too. That's where the wall jets out. And you don't have a lot of foul territory in that particular part of the ballpark here in St. Louis.
But if a wall hits Tyler O'Neill, who's going to get hurt more?
O'Neill wins.
Maybe. No,
There's
but
a crack in the foundation.
But it was scary. There's no question.
Boy, what a great play that was. He's had two tremendous plays in right field today. Runners at first and third, and this is Parra, and that's a base hit out to left, and this game is tied. Going to run on Ozuna to throw to third. They got him off the bag, and the tag applied by Jerko.
Rockies may want to look at this. It's a bit of a hanging breaking ball that he throws to Parra, and more than just a bit of one. Up in the middle of the zone. Parra has been a tough out this series, and the Rockies being very aggressive, trying to run on Ozuna. And here's the close play at third. Is he out? No, he is safe initially, and the question is, does he come off the bag? And Jerko pointing.
I would assume that Bud Black maybe is going out here and saying, did Jerko push him off the bag?
I don't believe he did, but I believe it's a reasonable question. Let's take one more look at it. He slides to the back part of the bag. Jerko, he's not pushing him, but his glove is on the arm and stays on the arm. And I think that's a legit thing to do for a player. You have to keep the tag on, and it's up to the runner sliding into the bag to hang on, and that we see that happen a lot with replay now, don't we?
And the Cardinals are getting some good defense here. Early portion of this ball game, the catches by O'Neill, now the outfield assist from Marcell Ozuna. The game is tied, and it brings in Ian Desmond after the RBI single by Parra.
And the tag by Jerko. I think Ozuna gets the credit. He got it in. He does not have a strong arm at the moment. That's not a question. And that's why they were running on him. But it was an accurate throw, right on the money. And Jerko did his job by keeping the tag on Gonzalez.
Ozuna just keeps stretching. You know, you don't like to speculate because you don't know. But you're right. When he first got up on the diving attempt on the liner by Parra, he was Almost looked like a shoulder injury, which sometimes you think, well, maybe he's favoring his back. And then on the swing, he was not comfortable. And clearly not comfortable right now in left field.
I've gone from shoulder to back to hip now, so I don't. We're just guessing at the moment. You're right, and it's clearly not fully 100% at the moment.
And lost in this is Gerardo Parra, who has an RBI in his last 3 games against the Cardinals. I started the series talking about how much I've enjoyed watching him play over the years. He's just a good player. The 0-1 pitch to Desmond is a ball outside. You never doubted Ian Desmond at the plate. Where the issues came for Ian Desmond was on the field when he was in Washington. And in particular at shortstop. He is the last draftee of the Montreal Expos still remaining in Major League Baseball. One ball and 2 strikes.
And about 20% of our audience just said the Montreal who? What?
That's right. There's a big push to get a stadium in Montreal and return baseball north of the border.
Thought it was interesting what Larry Walker had to say about that when we visited with him during this series. He thinks certainly viable, reasonable. Had exhibitions there this year just to kind of get some notoriety back again to the city as a baseball city, but it used to be, Dan, just part of the world. Cardinals and the Expos were in the same division in the East.
The 2-2 slowly hit. Michaelis off the mound and threw it away. Threw it off his back foot, and an error on Michaelis. A run will score, and the Rockies have the lead. Well, you could see that coming.
Yeah, and that's a mistake by Michaelis because he was being told no, 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 and we could hear it audibly on the effects mic down on the field. He just still thought he could make that play. Let's listen and see if we can hear no, no, no.
It was hold it.
And then it was no at the end, and then it was, well, I don't know what he said afterwards. Oops.
No RBI. It is a base hit and an error on Michaelis, so a 2-1 Rockies lead. And the 4th hit in the inning, an intentional walk to Tony Walters, and then it'll bring in Antonio Senzatella. This would be one of those times that you're talking about. Just get back in the dugout, cool off, regroup, get ready for inning number 5 if you're Miles Michaelis.
Part of the reason you hold it is you could have done this same thing and pitched to the pitcher with the bases loaded. So you take a chance that not a high probability chance, instead of pitching to a pitcher that's hitting 111.
And it's fouled back. And the base hit to left by Arenado. Gonzalez a bunt hit. Parr the base hit to left. Then the outfield assist for Ozuna. And Desmond a base hit on the infield. The intentional walk to Tony Walters, and now 0-2 the count. Outfield extremely shallow for Antonio Senzatella. And the 0-2 is tap foul. I've seen some of these breaking balls have a little hump. Some have been up in the zone.
Well, the pitch to Parra really is the pitch that got him in trouble this inning. You know, the bunt's going to happen. You know, Arenado going to get his hits, but the hanger to Parra really kind of set up this as a potential big number on the board.
1-2. The Cardinals in the home half of this inning will have Jed Jerko, Jairo Munoz, and Greg Garcia. The 1-2 pitch, fouled back. And he struck him out. 5th strikeout for Miles Michaelis, but the air cost him. It's now a 2-1 Rockies lead. Cancer Center. National leaders in cancer close to home. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. In 2016, Antonio Senzatella was pitching at AA. That's in Hartford. He was on the DL, had a strained shoulder. Got a call from his father that his mother was seriously ill with breast cancer. Nydia went home to Venezuela to be with her with the team's blessing. She passed away a month later. And last season, he got a start. Debut on Mother's Day against the Dodgers and earned the win. And he carries her rosary in his back pocket when he pitches. And her first name is stitched into his glove and cleats to always remember his mother, who was influential in his life in getting him to Major League Baseball.
You know, every player has a story, Dan, and that's a very poignant one. And the story includes parent support and coaches and neighbors and friends and teachers and you name it. Wives, brothers, sisters that have been supportive along the way, and just all their journey. I mean, it's a journey to get to the big leagues, and very few people get the opportunity to do that. And when you do get that chance, you have so many people to thank for it and help kind of communicate the joy of what's going on and the pitfalls that can come with it.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jed Jerko. Single to center field, first time up. You see a lot of times during the hot days here in St. Louis, the players will congregate near the steps. There's actually a burst of cold air that fires through there. They'll go down near the bat rack, which is located there. There's also cooling fans in the ballpark. And that's the area right there. Guys just kind of cool off before they go out in the on-deck circle.
In Busch Stadium 2, that was a runway that would actually go up to the clubhouse. And in that runway, they would have fans, and it was the coolest part of the ballpark. And they would have, that's where the starting pitcher would sit. And there would be a bucket of water that had ammonia in it that would have a cold towel, a lot of ice, that the pitcher in between innings would just get his quiet moment, and you just leave him alone.
And there's ball 4 and a leadoff walk. Community Coffee teaming up with the Cardinals to bring fans $5 tickets. Cardinals host the Nationals on August 13th through the 16th. And $5 tickets now at cardinals.com/communitycoffee.
Danny, after the Rockies getting a couple of runs in the top half of this inning, I've just been thinking here as the Cardinals were readying for their at-bat, what running now does for this team going forward in terms of hope for a particular game. You're not today thinking, oh boy, we're down, we got to wait for somebody to hit a home run. Or, well, we better wait for, you know, a double or 3 hits in a row to get that run to tie it. There are more options now, and I think that gives you more hope. It keeps you in the game. It keeps you sharp. And I think the Cardinals are going to run when they're trailing. They're going to run when they're ahead. They're going to run when they're tied. I just think that's what Mike Shildt is trying to rebrand this team. That's his kind of words this morning, was he's looking to brand this team and define this team going forward.
2 balls and no strikes. Senzatella cannot find the strike zone. Back at Busch Stadium 2, you played in an era in which it was not the natural grass. It was artificial turf at Busch, and the bullpens were down the right and the left field lines. Now those are some hot summer days.
And you wouldn't stay in the bullpen all the time. I mean, there was a door down the right field line that you could go out that would lead back into the clubhouse that was nice and cool, and you look for every opportunity to go back and get another stick of gum or whatever it was. I mean, just to, hey, I'll go get it.
Yeah. Cool off.
Just to cool off, right.
How did guys do it? I mean, you mentioned the buckets of ice in the water, but were there other goofy things that players would do?
Well, I think just defining that. I mean, not just being smart enough not to sit out and I wouldn't call that goofy. Well, there was some goofy things, putting lettuce in your hat, which that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm not. I know Willie McGee did that, and there were a lot of players, and there was an ice bucket also near the, not near the bullpen, but near the dugout, where you could put your shoes in it. It was water, and because your shoes would get hot. I mean, you could literally feel, if you were out playing in the outfield on the AstroTurf and it was a long inning, your feet would actually get hot.
Sure.
And that would be a way to get normal again.
Guys have talked about the cleats, some metal, some plastic, but they'd say the plastic ones would melt on the turf.
What was always much more amusing was watching the other team worrying about it more than you were.
Yeah.
Because you knew they weren't as used to it. As Casey Stengel used to say about Busch Stadium, it holds the heat well.
Right. Said that after the All-Star game. Munoz on a 3-1 pitch and a fly ball into right. And the catch is made. So with 1 out, it'll be Greg Garcia.
Another byproduct, I think, Dan, of the hit and runs that we're seeing, the movement, not only forcing guys to protect, but it's forcing guys to try to hit the ball on the ground more. And again, I'm not anti-launch angle, I'm not anti-home run, but you can't do it all the time. You get pop up a lot, and so the goal, and not everybody should be trying to hit a home run every swing, but occasionally you just need to put the ball in play on the ground somewhere. And when a runner's moving, it almost compels you to do that.
Cardinals did this last time up for Garcia. Started Jed Jerko, put him in motion. That's hit up the middle, and a double play ball. LeMahieu steps on the bag at second, and over to Desmond for the double play. It's 2-1 as we head to inning number 5. At shortstop, Jairo Munoz going from short to left field. Marcelo Zuna exits the ballgame. Ball to Young. Happy birthday, by the way. He now is 25.
I think we saw this coming with Ozuna. Just didn't look right. By the way, we have a nice clarification, and good to hear from longtime Cardinal trainer Gene Gieselman, who was in charge of making sure that water concoction was ready for those pitchers and players that were hot. He said, make sure you remind everybody it's not regular ammonia. It's actually a special ordered spirit of ammonia from the pharmacy where you just put a small amount in it. And he said we wouldn't want anybody using that and getting hurt. So it was a very special little concoction for us that was effective on hot days in St. Louis. And boy, did we have some hot woods. And good to hear from Gino, a friend of Cardinal baseball for a long time.
Man, he was here a long time. Classy man. Blackman with a fly ball into right. There's Tyler O'Neill to make the catch. And Blackman is over 3. Left toe discomfort is the word on Marcelo Zuna.
So we went from shoulder to hip to back to toe.
Sergeant Holka is bruised up. Here's DJ LeMahieu, and he looks at a strike. It's sharply to first, and Carpenter a nice play. Boy, that's a good play.
Well, the mistake defensively by Michaelis has given the Rockies a 2-1 lead, but the Cardinals have really been able to shine at some other moments, including this one. Terrific play by Carpenter. That if he doesn't catch that, that's a hit. That's not an error. That's a hit. That ball was smoked. And of course, the plays by O'Neill in right. Ozuna throwing a runner out at third. We've seen some good things defensively for St. Louis.
100 miles per hour off the bat. And here's the third baseman, Nolan Arenado. And he looks at a strike. Sent one to the track in right field. Very good play by O'Neill. And then also singled to left field in the fourth. He came around to score the Rockies' first run of the day. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arenado with 80 runs batted in, 28 home runs, and on his way to another Gold Glove. The 1-2 pitch. Reaching for it. Gets him to pop it up. Greg Garcia with the catch. And a 1-2-3. 9-pitch inning for Miles Michaelis. '16 and older receive an adult Cardinals mystery BP pullover. It's courtesy of Coca-Cola and Schnucks. So be surprised at the gates when you discover which Cardinals player you get to rep. Might be Molina, DeYoung, Carpenter, Ozuna, Fowler. That's August 17th. And the batter is Harrison Bader. 8-9-1 for the Cardinals. Bader struck out his first time up. And he looks at a strike. I don't know if you knew this, Rick, but we will be featured in an upcoming edition, the Cardinals Magazine program, which is seen on Fox Sports Midwest.
You know, I did know that because I actually participated in a little interview and they asked me about you in it. So I'm pretty sure that my comments will make it onto that particular website.
I hope my comments about you make it.
Not the ones I heard you make off the air, I hope.
A strikeout of Bader. And that's number 3 for Senzatella.
Which is part of the fun of us doing this, Dan. I mean, we have a great view of Cardinal baseball every day. There's a pitch right on the outside corner to get Bader, who seems a little bit in between. He's a little bit ahead on the breaking ball, a little bit behind on the fastball at the moment. Just a timing issue for him. But we get a terrific view.
That's on number 2.
Every day and every night for Cardinal baseball. And this is a nice version of Cardinal baseball that I think we have going forward with all the young players.
Get the sense that fans are excited about it in terms of watching the younger players get a chance to play. That's a camera view from our booth. Not too bad. So with 2 outs, it brings in Carpenter. Swung on the first pitch back in the first. He grounded to second and he singled to center in the third. So 2 outs and nobody on. And a ball.
The Cardinals get through Michaelis's spot in the lineup in the 5th inning. Sometimes it plays out well for you because Michaelis at 73 pitches could probably go 2 more, I would say easily, and maybe a little bit more than that if he has some good innings. So that's what we were hoping for from Michaelis, that he would get deep into the game and give his team a chance to win. And he's done that so far. The Cardinals are trailing, but 2 more zeros up on the board from Michaelis, and I would say job very well done.
And a 2-0 pitch. Carpenter looks at a strike. We're talking about Arenado and maybe Bud Black shifting more than other teams will do because of his range. But then you also think about the hitter. Do you drop down a bunt against Nolan Arenado? He's as good as anybody coming in. Carpenter rips it into right field, and a 2-out base hit. That'll carry all the way to the track, and he'll stop at first base. Throw quickly back in by Carlos Gonzalez. And Matt Carpenter is 2 for 3.
When Matt was struggling early in the year, there were no hits on the right side of the infield. It seemed as if there were 15 defenders. I mean, 7 infielders with 8 outfielders, and they're all on the right side, and he's hitting into every one of them. I mean, it just seemed like there weren't hits anywhere, but he has really gotten his stroke down, and he's finding a lot of holes, hitting the ball hard almost every at bat.
Yadier Molina. He is struck out and popped out. Five hits aside now in this game. And ball 1. The difference in the game, Michaelis slowly hit ball back in the 4th inning with a runner at second, threw it away, and that led to the second run for the Rockies. That was with Desmond up. That made it 2-1.
And it was with Yadi yelling to hold it.
And he sends it out to deep right, but Gonzalez plenty of room at the edge of the track to make the catch. So the Cardinals strand a runner. We played 5 on Fox Sports Midwest. As the Cardinals fly out, starts tomorrow the game action against Pittsburgh, 3 with the Pirates, 3 with Miami, off day, then 3 with Kansas City. Let's check in with Scott Warman.
All right, Dan, thanks. As you know, our own Jim Hayes first reporting last night that second baseman Colt Wong will have a rehab assignment with Peoria tonight. Mike Schill telling me this morning that it will be about a 7-inning rehab for Colt Wong, and he will join the team on that road trip in Pittsburgh. And Mike saying that if he holds up good with the recovery and travel, he could be activated before game 1 tomorrow night against the Pirates, Danny.
All right, thank you, Scotty. Here's Carlos Gonzalez, and a strike.
We've been talking about this renewed energy to run that the Cardinals have, and that's without Colton Wong around. So just think about maybe him in that mix. That might be good for him, because that seems to be his natural style. Just kind of a
let him go play.
Let it out.
Yeah.
And he does that defensively. He's having a terrific year defensively, but you know, almost maybe a little bit too on edge in terms of on the bases. And I think maybe he'll be freer, and he'll have more opportunities to go on hit and runs and go on 2-2 pitches and steal bases, and might be good for his game.
And also, you know about the defense. That's going to help the club overall defensively. Here's a 1-2 pitch and a ground ball to Carpenter. Now, speaking of defense, our BJC Healthcare difference maker today, the right fielder of the Cardinals. We know about the bat. How about the glove? This was in the first inning. Good play off the bat of Arenado. And this, a tremendous catch near the line and right. He's your BJC Healthcare difference maker.
Fans enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. And I'm sure he did as well, going back on the one play, coming in, showing his range.
Here's Trevor's story. We have a great statistician group that's here, led by Barrett McLaughlin and Luke McLaughlin, Ryan Mooney, Ray Fuse. I mean, they have put together an incredible package for us to go over for the game today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Trevor's story at the plate. He was the man that was robbed by O'Neill on the fly ball into right on the line, and the diving catch. There's a grounder to Young. Has to hurry up. Got him. And with that, there's 2 down, and Gerardo Parra will be the batter as Bud Black and the Rockies may challenge. And that means we're not challenging.
Means never mind. Well, you come cold off the bench, you better not be cold. You better be ready to move and ready to throw.
There's Parra, who's 2 for 2. A soft liner to left that was almost caught by Ozuna. Turned out to be a base hit. And then an RBI single to left. And 2 for 2. And the 0-1. To your point, Ricky, you get Michaelis through the lineup. We talked about the need for depth and length in the game from Michaelis, so he's at 82 pitches. Certainly, if he gets out of the 6th unscathed, might give you 7. And a grounder that's pulled foul. And the 1-2 pitch to Parra. Muscles it out to right field for a base hit. Tried to beat him in. He was ready for it.
8 for 15 in this series.
Maybe that's why I always think he's a good player. He just seems to hit the Cardinals well.
Can't get him out. They're pitching him up a lot. This one's up and in. He's had up and away. He's had up middle, and he's just hitting the ball to left. He's got a few flare hits, but give the guy credit. He's putting the ball in play. He's just red hot right now.
Parra has hit an 8 straight against the Cardinals. He just seems to have their number. So with 2 outs, it extends the inning to Ian Desmond. Chopper left side. Handled there by Jerko. And the Rockies strand a runner coming up for St. Louis. 3, 4, and 5. O'Neill, Ozuna, his spot in Jerko. Weekend, August 17th through the 19th, presented by Edward Jones. And on August 18th, 30,000 fans, 16 and older, take home a mystery cap and you either get Vince Coleman or Ray Langford. And it's courtesy of Edward Jones.
I'd like one of each.
We can arrange that.
You know some people?
I can make it happen. You'd like both?
I would.
We will make that happen. 2-1 our score. And a strike to Tyler O'Neill. And the 0-1 pitch. 0-2. O'Neill is single to left and also a sac fly. He's driven in the only run today. That was back in the third. And the 0-2 did not go. Speaking of Ray Langford, it was this date in Cardinals history. The Padres send Woody Williams to the Cardinals for Ray Langford. Ray had been benched. And Woody Williams was outstanding down the stretch. He went 7-1 in 11 starts for that team.
We had both those guys at a fantasy camp this winter. I don't remember that trade actually coming up in conversation. Ray was a exciting 5-tool player and Woody was an unbelievable competitor. Just a gamer, wasn't he?
He was. The 2-2 and the right fit at the right time with this organization.
And a college coach now and helping other people to play their best.
And the shift on here for Tyler O'Neill. He's worked the count full. And with one swing of the bat, this game could be tied. The 3-2 takes it upstairs and a leadoff walk. Cardinals had a leadoff walk in the fourth. They've gotten the leadoff man on in the second, the third, the fourth, and now the sixth. See if the Cardinals want to be aggressive down by a run. Here in the bottom of the sixth. O'Neill with good speed. And the first plate appearance for Paul DeYoung. And a high fly ball lifted out to right. Gonzalez with the catch. And O'Neill stays put.
You know, with these young Cardinal players, Dan, we've talked about how Michaelis is all of a sudden the veteran pitcher, and Bud Norris has a job out in the bullpen. You know, when you think of all these young players, we've been thinking, wow, speed, fun, energy. You think all those things. One of the things I think of is another guy that doesn't know the signs yet. Another guy that doesn't know how to get to the ballpark at Pittsburgh. Another guy doesn't know the team rules, both written and unwritten. I mean, it is going to be a process of assimilation for these young players into this team, but you don't want to take away their energy. I'm not saying that, but they're all kind of looking for some leadership too. And coaches become very important. Ollie Marmol in his communication with Tyler O'Neill at first. I mean, that's always critical, but with a young player, even more so, because he's more in tune with what the system is here at the big league level.
83 pitches for Senzatella. O'Neill leaning, not running, and the pitch is popped up. That's out of play. That's a lucky fan right there. He wasn't even in the seats. He was going to cool off, and that baseball actually was behind him, and he does a good thing. He gives it to a young fan. Nicely done. You got a little bit of luck, then you pay it forward.
That's the way life should be, Dan. Well said.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Jed Jerko. Popped up. Long way to go for Cargo, but he'll get there. Makes the catch, and that's 2 away.
A lot of fly ball outs in the last couple of innings. The Cardinals elevating. You go back to Munoz flying out in the 4th inning. Really, kind of since then, a lot of balls up in the air.
9 fly ball outs.
Well, you counted those quickly.
Also incorrectly, 10.
See what happens when you're quick with your math?
Exactly. So 2 outs, and Jairo Munoz, who is fly to center and also to right. Munoz now in left field after the sore toe for Marcell Ozuna. Munoz making the start at short, so goes from short to left, and Paul DeYoung into the ball game. Pretty big lead there for Tyler O'Neill. He's back in safely.
The Rockies are not playing overly deep in the outfield, and so the game's early enough from their vantage point, being in the 6th inning, that they're not really conceding the short hit in front of them just to play no doubles defense. So a ball in the gap will score O'Neill.
And a strike. Statcast AI powered by AWS. Primarily a pole hitter, no surprise. And the 0-1 pitch. Curveball drops in. 0-2. 0-2 pitch to Jairo Munoz. 1-2. We're on the air tomorrow, 5:30 St. Louis time from PNC Park. Pirates debut for Chris Archer. John Gant going for St. Louis. Ricky will be on the radio side, and I'll be working with the Mad Hungarian, Al Rabaski. Really big lead at first. We talked about it. We're in the final third now of the regular season, and be interesting to see how Mike Shildt will play it with guys that are struggling, young players, his use of the young pitchers, who goes in the rotation. O'Neill back in safely. See the leadoff about 11 feet. And the 1-2 pitch. Instead, another check on Tyler O'Neill. They start to boo here at Busch Stadium.
Divided attention.
The 1-2. 2-2.
Cardinals still waiting for that big hit today. They've had a few of those in this series at the right time, and opportunity here for Munoz.
And the next to him. Struck him out. The throw to second. All he had to do was go to first. The ball hit the dirt on strike 3, but with 2 outs, you got to throw to first. What a mental mistake that could turn out to be, and is.
Never seen that before. No one covering second because they didn't really need to. There's the strikeout in the dirt. It's strikeout. It's strike 3. No reason to throw to second base. He's talk about divided attention. The divided attention even on the catcher, who was worried so much about O'Neill going that he forgot that was strike 3, and all he needed to do was throw to first base, and that's it. I mean, that's just stunning to me.
I have never seen that. And again, normally with first base occupied, it wouldn't matter, but with 2 outs, it does. Ball hits the dirt, it's live.
Bud Black has the Mike Maddox arm on the shoulder, things are going to be okay routine going here with the catcher Walter.
Boy, you'd love to see him make him pay right here. You've never seen it, right?
Never. Now, I'm not going to say never, maybe in 5th grade.
But again, we don't go back 5th grade or before.
So I've never seen it. So this is strike 3. Ball's in the dirt. All he's got to do is throw to first base, and he inexplicably throws to second, and no one's covering. And the inning is extended.
So it's a strikeout and an error, and a strike on Greg Garcia. They have had their issues in the bullpen. This will now extend. Senzatella. The 0-1. Runner goes, and Garcia is hit by the pitch. And the weight of the world right now is on the shoulders of Tony Wolters. And even in that case, the Cardinals start the runner.
Yeah, and Senzatella's trying to help him with that weight that he's feeling at the moment as he's just shaking his head. He can't believe he did that, and he probably doesn't have a good answer for why he did what he did. But the Cardinals, in the midst of that weight and weighty feeling, send a runner again.
Smart move.
Love it. You're going to force him to throw to second?
Exactly. So now the bases are loaded for Harrison Bader, who is 0 for 2. This crowd now comes alive. The 2-1 Colorado lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Bader rips it foul. That was a hanging breaking ball.
Ahead on the breaking ball, behind on the fastball, but he's getting closer.
It looked to be an uncomfortable shot of the dugout of the Rockies. The Cardinals have been given a gift. The 0-1. 0-2. Back-to-back breaking balls on Bader.
Michaelis up next. If Bader gets on base, it appears that Michaelis will hit. With
nobody up and throwing.
No action.
That may tell you they are very limited in their bullpen today. Can the Cardinals make them pay? A walk, a strikeout, and a hit batter to load them up. And good speed on the bases. Senzatella, you can tell, just a bit unnerved. Bud Black was about to lose his mind. And Tony Wolters right now just says, please get the third out. And an 0-2 pitch to Bader. Bader rips it, just foul. It's 3 consecutive breaking balls to Harrison Bader.
Arenado is trying to get the attention in the dugout and asking, do you want me playing closer to the line or not? Because he's seeing Bader just pull that ball right down the line, trying to get the attention of the coaches, saying, where do you want me? He's seeing what we're seeing. Bader getting closer and closer to hitting that third base line.
The 0-2. Check swing, and he went. Strikeout of Bader. He is struck out for the 3rd time. And the Cardinals cannot cash in. For baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. One of the stories for the Cardinals today, the pitching of the all-star Miles Michaelis. And Michaelis has struck out 5. He's given up a pair of runs, both coming in the 4th inning. And one of those runs unearned, he committed an error on a throwing play to first base that led to a run. But other than that, it's been typical Miles Michaelis. The Rockies have Tony Wolters, the spot for Senzatella, and then Charlie Blackmon. And the first pitch to Wolters is a base hit into left. So he's on base for the 3rd time. A pair of walks, one of those intentional, and the single to left. This will be Ryan McMahon, their lone left-handed batter. That'll be it for Senzatella. So the starter of the Rockies is done for the day, and Bud Black will ask his bullpen to get the final 9 outs. That's Seung-Hwan Oh, who's pitched in 2 of the games thus far in this series. And as we always used to say, he's pitching and warming up under the watchful eyes of Eugene Koo. Oh, and 2. Pitch count at 88 for Michaelis, whose spot is due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th. And the 0-2. Senzatella 6 innings, 5 hits, a run, struck out 5, walked 2, hit a man, 96 pitches, 59 for strikes. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ryan McMahon. Check on Wolters at first. And the 1-2. Doesn't get the call, a little bit high. And the 2-2 pitch. Again high.
Sure, if you're a Rockies fan or a Rockies coach, manager, you talk about getting some production at the bottom of the lineup because the top of the lineup is so good. If you can get guys on base in front of Blackmon, Arenado, it's trouble.
And a strikeout for Michaelis, number 6 today.
So important to finish off 7, 8, and 9 if you can, and that's what he does with the pinch hitter. This pitch is up in the zone a little bit, but he gets away with it.
And here's Charlie Blackmon, who is 0 for 3. We see, though, Michaelis, Ricky, he pitches up in the zone a lot.
Yeah. When the breaking ball's up, though, you'd think he got underneath something a little bit more than he wanted to, and yet the percentage, as we talked earlier, Dan, of high quality strike strikes from Michaelis is extraordinarily good. Anybody can throw a good pitch, but he throws about 90 of them in an average start. Remember hearing that from Tom Seaver when I was a kid, interested in pitching. He made a comment publicly. He said, if I make more than 4 mistakes in a game, I lose.
That's it, huh? 4.
And every other pitch has got to be about where I want to throw it.
In the air. Center field. Bader with the catch. And Blackman is 0 for 4. Now on sale, the 2018 yearbook celebrates the golden anniversary of Bob Gibson's historic 1968 season and the year of the pitcher. Featuring a Q&A with Gibby, compelling features, recollections from Hank Aaron, Tim McCarver, many more. 345-9000 for the yearbook. Cardinals.com/yearbook online. Brebbia was up and throwing, and now it's a lefty, Jason Shreve. DJ LeMahieu has returned to the lineup today for Colorado, and he's 0 for 3. Struck out, lined out to second, grounded out to first. And a check swing and a foul ball.
Dan, you were asking about this yesterday. This is a perfect example of when do you get a relief pitcher up. LeMahieu's at the plate. Arenado's next. You've already decided as a manager that Michaelis is going to face those two guys no matter what if it's in this inning. But if it gets to Carlos Gonzalez, situationally, that's when you need somebody ready, and that's 2 batters ahead, and that's about right. You get a pitcher up, 2 batters ahead should be enough time for him to be ready.
A ball and a strike. And some guys can get loose quicker than others. Some guys, it doesn't take as many pitches as others. That's something that Mike Schilt, Brian Eversgerd are, I'm sure, trying to figure out as we go along with new faces in that bullpen.
My next long conversation with Brian Eversgerd is going to be about the new faces out there and how they warm up. And I'm talking about the starters.
Ponce de Leon, some of those guys.
Yes. Gomber, Ponce de Leon, although Gomber's back in the rotation now.
Here's a 1-1 pitch by Michaelis. Instead, a check on the runner. And the pitch count at 97 right now for the Cardinals starter, Miles Michaelis. And the 1-1. Lifted in the air to center, racing in Bader. He's got it. And Miles Michaelis is through 7. Time to stretch. Beautiful day here in St. Louis. and it should yours too. That's Rick Ankiel on the mound. And for those of us that are close to him and know him and understand the demons that he's had throwing that baseball from that mound, that's incredible. And that's video from last night. There's a lot of major leaguers, even some Hall of Famers, that are playing in basically exhibition games. And I talked to Rick last week. I asked him if he was going to get on the mound. He said, I'm toying with it. I'm thinking about it. Now, he has had some issues with his body and a lot of surgeries. But Johnny Bench was his manager last night, gave him a hug. I mean, everybody in baseball knows it was a miserable existence for Rick Ankiel at the field and away from the field. And to see him get back on a mound and do that is incredible. And he got a hug from Johnny Bench and a standing O from the fans at the ballpark. I think that's an incredible moment.
And it's a great moment that doesn't have anything to do with baseball. It's about a man's journey and his difficulties and overcoming them and persevering and having people that care about him and root for him along the way. And just so happy for that video that we had a chance to see that and can enjoy that while we reconnect with Rick when we see him.
Here's Dexter Fowler at the plate and Seungwon Oh. Or Chevy called to the pen. Now Rick has a couple of little boys that are now getting old enough, and I mean they're probably guessing here 6 to 8. The strikeout of Fowler, in which those boys are coming to Rick and saying, Dad, we kind of like to see you throw. What, you know, how good were you? And he hadn't really got into the videos yet. And he said, you know, my playing days were done. I think his wife may be pushing him a little bit to say, hey, for the boys, you might want to give it a try. And I told Rick this the other day. I said, look, first of all, I want to be your agent. Secondly, I said, what do you have to lose? And he said, I know. As Carpenter pops it up, Arenado giving chase and can't come up with it. But Tim Brown is the one that wrote his book, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Tim said something to the effect, he was asked about it, and he said, you know, Rick maybe is thinking about it, and if the body would allow him to do it, maybe he would. But I just think seeing the video of him on the mound just doing that is, you know, that's a hurdle, man. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, he's done some things that are undoable already in his life, and that's coming back as a hitter, which can't happen after not hitting for all the years that he didn't, to go reinvent himself in the minor leagues as a power hitter and make it back to the big leagues and have a nice long career doing that. I just think that the pitching moment for him is just a way for him to enjoy it. And that's really enjoy it without necessarily having a purpose to it. That's how I see it.
Could you imagine, though, if he comes back, and you talk about coming back full circle? I mean, he's still, I mean, you're at the fantasy camps, you see him throw. He still has a cannon for an arm.
Yeah.
He's now 39 years old. I would say this, and we mentioned last night, if he would come out and say, yeah, I'm going to give it a try and I'm going to get my arm in shape and see how my body responds, there's going to be an awful lot of teams lined up to see what he's got. That's a fact. Would you agree?
He's not your normal 39-year-old either when you see him. He's just in terrific shape.
Here's a 1-2. And the Honda home run inning, Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to a Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball into right. And Seungwon Oh has gotten the first two. Whatever he decides, I'm behind him. 100%. He's been a good friend to us. Matter of fact, a great friend. The Yachty t-shirt. And now Yachty at the plate. 2-1 our score. This is the third time in the series he's faced Molina. Now he flipped up a off-speed pitch to Carpenter at 68 miles an hour. We had not seen that before. One ball and one strike. Molina is over 3. Missed on the outside corner. 2-1.
That's another slow breaking ball. That one at 74, and he's changing speeds with his breaking pitch in a way that he did not do last year.
2-2.
Talk about reinventing yourself. Necessity is the mother of invention. Did somebody say that? I think I just did.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't the first one to say that.
The 2-2 is grounded to short. Trevor Story up with it, and he makes the play. Seung-Hwan Oh, a scoreless bottom of the 7th. The Art Museum. And it's 2-1 Rockies. He'll get Arenado, Gonzalez, and Story. Gonzalez hit a 2-run homer off of John Brebbia in Game 2 of this series. And he's in relief of Miles Michaelis. It's our Chevy call to the pen. And what can you say about Miles? He's giving your team a chance to win every 5th day.
Another solid start for Michaelis. Up to the bullpen now to give the Cardinals the 2 chances that they have to get back in this game. And Brebbia, Mike Myers, everybody out in the bullpen is an important part. If you're going to win a lot of games or win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 or go on a run, whatever you want to say about that, you're going to have a good bullpen from top to bottom. Everybody's going to have to be clicking, including this man here, Brebbia.
Arenado takes a ball low. He is flied to the track in right, singled, scored in the 4th, and popped out in the 5th. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Such a big difference between going 5 innings and going 7 innings. So if Michaelis would have gone 5, we'd either be on our 4th pitcher now, or somebody would have had to go 2, and we would be on the 3rd pitcher. And it's just incredible how that changes. Yeah, and changes your bullpen construction.
1 ball and 1 strike. Was a little vague, by the way, in that game that Rick Ankiel pitched in. It's called the Bluegrass World Series. That's the event, and former major league players go against college players, but there's some big talent like Chipper Jones and Rick and some of the others that are there. Arenado waves at it, and a strikeout for Brebbia. The bullpen retooled in many ways. Some of these young faces coming up. Archaea drive to success. Their numbers during the homestand. You take that, huh, Rick Horton? 1.73 ERA during the stand.
Well, that's just such a change and such a better outlook. And think about how that changes too, Dan. The whole team's mindset when you get into the 5th and the 6th inning of a game. You don't think, uh-oh, what's going to happen next? You think, hey, let's get that lead. We'll win it.
There's Carlos Gonzalez, 1 for 3. Remember the other night, a pitch down and in, and he hit an absolute rope into the seats in right. Not sure we've seen a home run get out quicker this year. A line drive that turned into a home run. And it's 2 balls, no strikes. Miles Michaelis, 7 innings, 7 hits, couple of runs, 1 earned run. And the play of the game right now is his throw to first base that was errant that led to a run. 98 pitches on the day for Miles. And the 3-0. The attendance 41,478. 41478 on a hot, muggy afternoon in the Midwest. A 3-1 pitch. A bit up and a 1-out walk. It's one thing you look at with Bud Black's lineup. The length in this lineup. There's not a lot of easy outs. There's guys that have power. They've got a little speed. There's also flexibility in terms of right and left. It's a balanced lineup.
And that's something the Cardinals tried to improve on at the trading deadline. A lot of the young players we mentioned yesterday are left-handed batters and a left-handed starting pitcher in Double-A that has some promise. And it seems that the Cardinals have just kind of, because of a couple of trades and retirements and just players that just didn't kind of pan out, became very right-handed all of a sudden.
Trevor Story at the plate. He's grounded into 6 double plays this year. And the 1-0 instead of check on the runner. And you think about the 8th and the 9th inning for Colorado. Adam Ottavino, a good one. Wade Davis, outstanding in the back end of games for the Rockies. Brebbia trying to keep this a 1-run St. Louis deficit. And the 1-0. It's the pitch right there. A lot of times if he's going to get a ground ball, it's that slider to a right-hander that gets him to reach and put on the ground.
And if he doesn't get the ground ball to produce the double play, Shreve will come in to face Parra. He's been up a couple of times and he's ready.
And the 1-1 pitch. The next by Brebbia. Catches the outside corner. Good job of pitch framing there by Yadier Molina.
Every time I watch Brebbia throw too, that pitch he framed was at 94. I remember him first coming to the big leagues and saying he throws 90, 91. And first pitch he threw was like 94, then 95, 96, and it's like, wait a minute. You have more than you think you have. Maybe he was sandbagging.
The 2-2. Well, I asked him, I said, now how does this happen? You're kind of lost in the system of various major league teams. You have to go through independent baseball to get back. He said, I made a decision, Dan, one day. I woke up, and John's a fun guy, interesting guy.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I'm going to get on the mound and throw it as hard as I can. Everybody else is doing it. I'm going to throw it as hard as I can, get the velocity up. He said, I've always had a pretty good slider, but that's where this game is going. Power pitching. Made his debut against the Rockies in Colorado last year.
And probably pitchers younger than John Brebbia would say, well, of course that's what you do. But there was an era to which you would pitch, and pitch was not necessarily thought of as a 100% effort experience.
The 2-2 pitch. Brebbia to Story after a long look. Out in front, popped up. Jerko over near the seats, and a foul ball. And it stays 2-2. Bring it 2. So the count is full on Trevor Story. Tremendous power at the plate. He was robbed earlier in the game by Tyler O'Neill with a diving catch down the right field line. He is struck out and grounded out. See if they start the runner here on 3-2. They do. Swung on and missed. Throw to second is high. And out. He came off the bag for the second time in this game. Gonzalez did that at third earlier.
He needs some Velcro.
And not a big argument from Carlos Gonzalez. But Bud Black in a one-run game on the road says, hey, you got nothing to lose this late. Might as well challenge it. And Greg Garcia initially put down the tag and then immediately went towards the dugout. Here's the strikeout and the throw.
A high throw, and there's the tag. On the back leg. Is his leg off the base or not? I can't tell in that angle. He hits the bag, tries to hang on, then hangs on with the foot. And is he off? Maybe a third angle will tell. Boy, I don't know. I think he's safe.
I thought he was out. Well, I'm not sure that there's enough video to overturn it either, or at least the view.
Well, the tag's on him now. Oh, so close. Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. I'd say it's close enough that it'd be hard to overturn. That's my guess. Unless there's a better enhanced view of what's happening right now.
Think about it, in this game, the Rockies now, that could be 2 in which Gonzalez slides off the bag. You had Tony Walters on a strikeout, third out of an inning, throw a ball in center field. They're clinging right now to a one-run lead. He is out. Maybe not enough evidence to overturn it. Fargo can't believe it. Midway through 8. and a 2-1 Rockies lead. Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, going further so you can. Ottavino is in, the 8th inning reliever for Colorado. Or Chevy called to the pen. And here's Tyler O'Neill. O'Neill has made his presence felt both at the plate with a single, a sac fly, and an RBI, a walk, and 2 fantastic plays with his glove in right. Nothing into the count. And he struck him out.
Time to find an ATM? Again? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Here's Paul DeJong. He had an RBI last night, got the Cardinals on the board. The eventual 6-3 win. Fly to deep right. And he's 0 for 1. Ottavino, a former first-round pick of St. Louis, and has found a home with the Rockies. The 1-0. You can see with that pitch in our vantage point up here in the booth. A right-handed batter, that slider is starting at the hip of the right-handed batter.
So he's really created a niche for himself as a reliever that throws something different and from a different angle and in a different way than most pitchers do in baseball. That adds to his deception. If you're Paul DeJong, that pitch right there looked like it came from behind him.
And Ricky, he starts on the first base side of the rubber, and then the lead leg is going to the right-handed batter. So he's jumping at the hitter a bit and then coming across.
Creates a severe angle. It creates perceived velocity, which of course is a sabermetric thing that's tracked. It's an analytic that, you know, some guys throw a certain velocity, but it looks harder. He'd be one of those guys to me.
Inside, and now the tying run is on. That brings in Jed Jerko. He signaled to center field, walked, and flied to right. 1 for 2 on the day. Cardinals have had a number of comeback wins this season. Arenado guarding the line at third. And a strike to Jerko. They really don't move all that much. Parra in left and Blackman in center. That big gap in left center. That's primarily the way they've been situated all series long.
My guess there, Dan, is it's some of what you do defensively in terms of positioning is about dealing with the batter at the plate. Some of it is what your strength is. If you're better going to your right, you're going to allow more open space in that direction. Glove side for Blackman, that makes sense as a center fielder, that he likes going into left center.
And the 1-1. Ooh, Jed did not like the call. That's pitch framing there by Tony Walters. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So you try to make it look like a strike. He pulled it back, and it was. 3 left-handed outfielders, by the way, for the
all
Rockies.
with pretty good arms too.
Yeah.
And the 1-2 pitch upcoming to Jed Jerko. His time is called and granted late. That drive you nuts when you were pitching?
Yes, well, but it didn't happen very much because most hitters couldn't wait to hit against me, and I couldn't wait to throw it and get it over with. So everybody was ready.
1-2 and just missed.
It was actually a Whitey Herzog line he used to say about his relievers. He says, hey, if you're going to be bad, do it quickly.
Get it over with.
Not exactly the words he used, but I'm paraphrasing.
If you're going to be,
then
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Runner at first is O'Neill, and the 2-2 pitch. He is running on the 2-2. The throw down to second, and he is safe. Did he stay on the bag?
We must have slippery bags today. We saw Bill Finley out talking with Joe West. Maybe that's what they were talking about.
Now, they may ask for an umpire review in this particular case.
They don't have a challenge.
That's right. They don't have a challenge. Now they could say, hey, we've got it on video, which sometimes will happen, but.
So what do you say? Can we pretty please have a umpire review? Pretty please. There's the play, and he's on the bag, and is he off of it?
Boy, that's tough to tell.
Well, I think by getting the review, this is not going to go the Cardinals' way.
So be the umpire review.
I have concerns.
This is a huge review in the ball game this late. That would put the tying run at second base. Showing a replay, what you're seeing on the video board here at the ballpark.
He tries to hang on, then he tries to hang on with the feet, and he just can't quite do it. I think that foot is off the base at the time. Can't tell from that angle, but I thought the other angle showed it. I think he's going to be out, although we're looking at another view on the scoreboard when it looks like his foot was on. This is the one I thought it comes off.
So he tags the right foot, but is the left foot back on, and that may be tough to overturn that. I ask you, what's the point of having challenges if you can just go back out and tell the umpire, hey, by the way, you may want to take a look at it.
Well, it's a good point. I think the idea is to limit the number of them during the course of a game. The umpire reviews kind of happen later on if the game's close and it's important play, and this is an important play. You want to get it. You want to get it as right as you can get it at this point.
And I get why Bud Black would do this.
Yes.
Makes all the sense in the world. And we're still waiting, as I'm sure they're taking multiple looks at what is a very important call, this particular play. So 3-2 with 2 outs on Jed Jerko. And the pitch to the Cardinal third baseman. Jerko with a fly ball into right field. Gonzalez over and makes the catch. Sends us to the ninth in a 2-1 game. Don't know, 8th inning and beyond, you can have the crew chief review even if a team is out of challenges, and that's technically the rule in that situation and why Paul DeYoung was called out. His sole discretion, he can initiate replay review.
But my understanding is not mandatory if you ask the umpire. If they believe, no, I got it right, I'm good. Would have been nice if Joe would have said that.
Thought he might. That's out of play by Gerardo Parra. Jason Shreve. Seen him briefly. What have you thought?
Well, I like the velocity that he has. He has a split breaking ball. I think it's going to play well. Not a big guy, but has a live arm. High strikeout ratio. And he's a guy that when he turns sideways, he kind of disappears. Working out of the stretch. He's thin and wiry.
2 balls and 1 strike on Parra. He's 3 for 3 today. And lifts a fly ball out to center. Hey, that's a relief. The Cardinals get him out. He's been red hot in this series. So Chevy COL to the pen. Lefties 255 against him. The righties 265. And today, appearance number 42.
Dark clouds rolling in here to downtown St. Louis.
It's actually, I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's raining.
Temperatures dropped a little bit. A light rain.
Cardinals have Munoz, Garcia, and Bader. Wade Davis throwing in the bullpen of the Rockies. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Ian Desmond.
Cardinals have saved Jose Martinez if they want to use him somewhere in the 9th inning as a pinch hitter. Certainly brings some power potential off the bench.
Now, Ricky, it's raining pretty good. It's coming down here at Busch Stadium. You look to the left, you got some dark clouds, and then you look to the right, and it looks like you're on a beach. Where's a summer day?
Where's the rainbow?
It's got to be somewhere. And the 2-2.
It's a good thing, Dan, that, and you know this about me, that I am actually a pluviophile.
That's correct. And a strikeout of Desmond. And for those that don't know, means you're a left-handed pitcher and have some weird thoughts.
Not exactly.
Oh.
It means that I love the rain. I'm a rain lover.
Speak for yourself.
I did.
Again, a left-hander with weird thoughts. Tyler O'Neill with our Budweiser play of the game, and that great catch down the right field line. Why do you like the rain?
It's soothing, calming. I enjoy it.
Let me ask you this. When we're about 2 outs away from ending a telecast, it's been a long night, and the rain comes in. We've got a 2-hour delay. Is it soothing then?
It's good for the grass. It's good for the flowers. It refreshes, brings life.
So with those 2-hour rain delays, is it, again, soothing for you?
I'm trying to focus on the positive here. Maybe I'm a farmer at heart. I don't know.
You're from New York.
And there are a lot of farms in New York.
Yes, there are.
My family grew up on one. Grandparents. And, you know, the rain comes, it helps the garden grow, and you can make more salsa.
Now that's a positive way to look at it from a Cardinal perspective.
I knew I'd get there.
That's yeah, it took a while. Inside to Tony Walters. One ball and 2 strikes. See a few umbrellas out. And that's out to right. O'Neill with the catch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Chasing Tree. Coming up, Munoz, Garcia, and Bader. leading the Cardinals. The right-hander Wade Davis into the ball game. Cardinals here in stadium just made an announcement that Matt Carpenter is the July National League Player of the Month, and no surprise to many of us that follow the Cardinals night after night.
We voted for him.
Yes, we did. So congratulations to Matt Carpenter.
And how could you not?
Others were certainly in the conversation,
Yeah, but
the
11
numbers were
11
ridiculous.
home runs in the month. I mean, it's a big month for Matt. Big last couple of months, really, and so deserving.
So congratulations to the Cardinals third baseman slash first baseman leadoff man Matt Carpenter.
And let's get him another at bat here this afternoon.
Got Munoz and then Garcia. Bader's spot. It's been a game in which the Cardinals have had opportunities too, but have come up just short. Five times in this game they've had their leadoff man on.
Just haven't had the big hit.
They have been out hit 7-5, and they trail 2-1. Munoz on the first pitch. Arenado. Oh man, how good is that play? Wow. He is worth the price of admission.
Well, it's the ninth inning play too. Guarding the line. Gets it on the short hop, smooth hands. Gets his feet underneath him, then makes an off-balance throw. That's a gem right there.
A lot of guys, that's off the heel of their glove, and it's a double. Greg Garcia. Garcia, the start today at second base, grounded into a double play, flied to left, and was hit by a pitch.
It's also a commercial for guarding the line in late innings too. Arenado was not far off the line, and the reason you guard it is a hit there can hurt you more than a hit to your left. A hit to your left is a single, a hit to your right is a double.
Garcia, base hit. The tying run is aboard. The winning run will come to the plate. Jose Martinez has moved to the on-deck circle, and the Cardinals have a life.
Pitch up, Garcia did not miss it. Good at bat.
Harrison Bader came up with the bases loaded back in the sixth. He struck out. Been a tough day for Harrison. He struck out 3 times, 0 for 3. The Cardinals, if you're wondering, with 8 walk-off wins this year. And Bader on the first pitch takes strike 1. He thought it was a little bit low. Little smile. And the 0-1 pitch. Instead, Davis steps off the mound. The 0-1 pitch. Every single reliever, the Cardinals have a tell on that reliever and a time and an idea of what are the good matchups to run on. Cardinals have been so aggressive. They're down by a run here in the 9th inning. A short lead at first by Greg Garcia. But to your point, Ricky, we're seeing the Rockies throw over with anybody at first base more in this series than we've seen all year. And it's a count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
Bader can turn a rough afternoon into a great one with 1 swing.
The 1-1. Two and 1 to count. A lot of room on the right side of the infield as they hold Garcia. LeMahieu near the bag at second. The 2-1 pitch. Bader, base hit into right. Garcia to third. And Jose Martinez coming up. Harris and Bader, a huge base hit.
Love this at bat by Bader. He takes it the other way, and the base running of Garcia, first to third. And the Cardinals in business here in the 9th inning. And good thing that it's been raining so we can have some salsa.
Jose Martinez. He is 0 for 4 against Davis in his career. Two for 11 as a pinch hitter this season. Bader running. Throw to second. He is safe. You talk about a chance. They do it here in the 9th. A base hit could win it.
Wasting no time to do it. I credit Walters with a pretty good throw after making a mistake earlier in this game. But there's the break by Bader. And for the first time in a while, we have a base runner hanging onto a bag.
And with that, the Rockies bring the infield in. This crowd ready to erupt.
It's something when you can put pressure on the other team when you're down in the bottom of the 9th. That's what the Cardinals have done. Pressure on squarely on the Rockies right now.
It's a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. The outfield has to move in a step or two. The next to Martinez. Ground ball foul. .11 out of 19 times. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. 58% of the time that Jose Martinez has brought him in.
Cardinals take a productive out here. That stat we were talking about earlier, but Mike Shildt would like more. How about a base hit and a game winner?
The 1-2. Into right. It's down. The Cardinals will walk it off for the 9th time this year. They take 3 of 4. They win it in dramatic fashion. Jose Martinez, first ever walk-off hit. What a win for St. Louis. Wade Davis, 31 saves on the year. One of the best in all of baseball. And the Cardinals get him, and they take 3 of 4.
Incredible that the Cardinals were able to put pressure on the team that was leading in the bottom of the 9th inning. That's exactly what they did against one of the league's best closers, and a big moment for the Cardinals. Everybody with a lot of energy, a lot of celebration on the field here at Busch Stadium.
Energy, excitement, movement. It's paying off for number 8, Mike Shildt. What a win for the Cardinals. One of the biggest of the year. Let's go downstairs to Scott Warman.
All right, Danny, thanks so much. Jose, congratulations. Take us through that at bat with us.
I mean, you got to put the ball in play. I just want to use to get that run on third base, and I got a plus, I got the other one.
All right, so great. Whoa, now I got it. Woo! Big series win for you guys as you take 3 of 4 against a team who's playing really well right now.
I mean, we just want to keep it going, kind of everything together. Bullpen is there. We're putting good at bat, so it's more to come.
And of course, you're not playing as regularly as you did. You're coming off the bench. It's something that you have to adapt to, but you've done really well in doing that. When do you get a chance to do this?
It's all about the job. It's all about the play with the team too. It don't matter if I'm not in the lineup, if I'm in the lineup. I'm just gonna go out there trying to do my job. Stay out here and go to World Series with the Cardinals.
Jose, thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Danny, back to you.
Scotty, that's a good job of staying composed. Nice work. Got doused. The walk-off, first ever for Jose Martinez. And the Cardinals take 3 of 4 against one of the hottest teams in baseball. 3-2 the final here at Busch.